The last visitor left almost an hour ago, and the gallery has settled into that particular hush that only comes after closing time. The hush of a building exhaling. I like this part of the evening more than almost any other. The lights along the main corridor have dimmed to their night setting, a low amber glow that makes the marble floors look like they're lit from somewhere underneath, softly, gently, the way embers glow after a fire has gone quiet. My key ring is heavy in my hand, cool metal against my palm, and I let it hang there a moment before I start my rounds. There's no need to hurry. There's never any need to hurry here. The paintings aren't going anywhere. The sculptures have all the patience in the world. And I have the whole night ahead of me. Room after room, corridor after corridor, each one waiting to be checked and looked at and quietly appreciated in a way the daytime crowds never quite have time for. I begin, as I always do, in the entrance hall. The ceiling here rises up into a dome, and during the day, sunlight pours through the oculus at the center, spilling down in a wide golden column that visitors like to stand in and photograph. But at night, the dome goes dark, and instead the room is lit by the soft floor lamps that line the walls, throwing gentle pools of light across the stone floor. I walk the perimeter slowly, my footsteps echoing just slightly, comfortably, the way a voice does in an empty church. There's a bronze statue near the entrance, a woman with her arm raised, reaching towards something we can never quite see, some point just beyond her fingertips. I pause here, as I always do, and rest my hand briefly on the cool marble base beside her. The bronze has darkened with age to a deep, warm brown, almost the color of strong tea. And in this dim light, it looks less like metal and more like something that has always been alive, always been reaching, patient and unhurried for 100 years or more. I make a small note in my logbook. Entrance hall, all secure, temperature steady. The pen moves easily across the page, and there's something soothing about this ritual. The same words, almost night after night, the same careful checking, the same quiet confirmation that everything is exactly where it should be. I move on toward the east wing, where the portrait gallery waits. The portrait gallery is long and narrow, lined on both sides with gilded frames that catch the low light and throw it back in small, warm flickers. During the day, this room is full of murmured conversations, footsteps, the occasional gasp of recognition. At night, it belongs only to the portraits themselves and to me, moving slowly down the center of the room, looking up at faces that have been looking back at nothing patiently for centuries. There's one portrait near the middle of the room that I always stop at. A young woman in a deep green dress, her hands folded in her lap, her expression somewhere between amusement and secrecy, as if she knows something pleasant that she has decided not to share. I've read the little brass plaque beside her so many times I could recite it without looking. But I look anyway, out of habit, out of the same gentle affection I might feel checking on an old friend. Portrait of a young woman, unknown artist, circa 1750. No one knows her name. No one knows who painted her. And yet here she has been for nearly 300 years, sitting quietly in her green dress, patient as the bronze woman in the entrance hall, patient as the building itself. I find this strangely comforting, the not knowing. It seems she belongs to no one and everyone, that she has simply always been here, watching over this room the way I am watching over it tonight, and will be here long after I've gone home to sleep, and long after that too. The floor in the gallery is old oak, worn smooth and pale down the centre, where hundreds of years of footsteps have passed. I can feel it give very slightly under my boots, a soft creak here and there, like the building settling into itself for the night. The way an old house murmurs and sighs once the lights go off and everyone has gone to bed. I check the temperature gauge at the far end of the room, steady, just as it should be, and make my note in the logbook. Then I sit for a moment on the small wooden bench in the centre of the gallery, the one visitors use to rest their feet during the day, and I let my eyes travel slowly along the row of frames, one after another, faces catching the amber light, some smiling faintly, some solemn, all of them entirely at peace. After a while, I rise and I move on. The corridor beneath the portrait gallery and the sculpture hall is my favourite stretch of the whole building. It's narrow and lined with tall arched windows on one side, looking out over the courtyard garden. Tonight there's a thin mist settled over the grass, and the old fountain at the centre, long since turned off for the season, sits silent and still, its basin catching a faint reflection of the moon. I like to walk slowly here, my hand trailing lightly along the cool stone windowsill, watching the mist drift almost imperceptibly across the garden, the hedges' dark shapes against the paler grass. There's no sound at all in this corridor except my own footsteps, and very faintly the soft tick of the old radiator along the far wall, warming the room by degrees, patient and unhurried. Somewhere above me, a pipe settles with a small, distant clank, and then falls quiet again. The building talking to itself, the way it does every night around this hour. I've come to recognize its voices the way you'd recognize the voice of someone you live with. The particular creak of the third floor above the west wing, the soft whoosh of air through the vents in the sculpture hall, the occasional low groan of the old elevator shifting somewhere deep in its resting position. None of it needs my attention. All of it simply needs my company, and I'm glad to give it. The sculpture hall opens up ahead of me, tall and wide, its ceiling arching up into shadow. During the day, the skylights above fill this room with bright, even light, and the white marble figures seem almost too bright to look at directly. But at night, with only the low wall sconces glowing, the sculptures take on a different character altogether, softer, more thoughtful, as if they too have settled in for the evening. I walk between them slowly, a reclining figure resting on one elbow, her expression utterly serene. A pair of wrestling youths frozen mid-motion, but somehow in this light, looking more like they're embracing than struggling. A tall, slender figure of a woman pouring water from an urn that has been empty, of course, for 200 years, though I've always liked to imagine I can hear it, faintly, somewhere just at the edge of hearing. There's a particular kind of quiet that settles over a room full of marble at night. The stone seems to hold on to the day's warmth long after the lights have dimmed, and if I rest my palm against the base of one of the pedestals, I can feel just the faintest trace of it still there, like the last warmth of a fire that's mostly gone to embers. I check each pedestal in turn, gently my hand skimming along the edges to make sure nothing has shifted, nothing needs adjusting. Near the far wall, one of the small placards has come slightly loose from its little brass stand, and I take a moment to straighten it, pressing it firmly back into place. Such a small task, but there's a satisfaction in it, in settling a small thing right, in knowing that tomorrow morning, when the first visitors arrive, everything will be exactly as it should be, and they'll never know that anyone was even here. I write in my logbook, Sculpture Hall, all secure. Minor adjustment to placard, north wall. And then I sit for a while on the long marble bench that runs down the centre of the room, letting my eyes travel slowly upward, past the sculptures, to the dark skylight overhead, where I can just make out if I look carefully, a few faint stars are beginning to show themselves through the glass. After some time, I rise and continue on. The library sits just off the sculpture hall, a small room most visitors never think to enter, tucked behind a heavy oak door that's usually kept closed during the day. It's not really a library in the working sense, more a quiet reading room lined with glass-fronted cabinets holding old volumes about the collection, its history, the artists whose work fills these halls. I like to come here around this point in my rounds when the night has properly settled and my footsteps have found their unhurried rhythm. The room smells faintly of old paper and leather, a warm, dry scent that reminds me every time of my grandmother's study, though I couldn't tell you why exactly. Perhaps just the particular blend of dust and age and quiet that seems to gather in rooms full of books, no matter where they are. A single reading lamp sits on the round table in the center of the room, and I switch it on now, its small pool of gold light spilling across the dark wood. I check the humidity gauge on the wall, steady, as it always is here, the old volumes carefully protected, and then because there's no harm in it, and because I have the time, I sit for a while at the table in the soft circle of lamplight and simply rest. Outside the tall window behind me, the mist in the courtyard has thickened slightly, and I can hear, very faintly, the first patter of a light rain beginning against the glass. Not heavy, not urgent, just a soft, steady rhythm, like fingers drumming gently on a table, keeping time with nothing in particular. I think sometimes in this room about all the people who sat here before me, curators, perhaps, or scholars, poring over these same volumes by lamplight, making the same small notes I make in my own logbook, keeping their own quiet watch over this same collection. It's a comforting thought, the idea of these overlapping nights, one after another, stretching back through the building's long history, each one peaceful, each one much like this one. After a while, I close the reading lamp and step back into the corridor. The rain has settled into a gentle, steady rhythm against the tall windows now, and I pause for a moment to watch it, the drops catching the low light and turning to small silver streaks against the dark glass. There's something wonderfully soothing about rain at night, heard from somewhere warm and dry. The sound of it seems to slow everything down even further, if that's possible, wrapping the whole building in a soft, even hush. I continue towards the west wing, where the landscape gallery awaits. This room is wide and low-ceilinged compared to the others, more intimate, and the paintings here are large. Vast countryside scenes, rolling hills, quiet rivers, skies full of soft clouds, rendered in careful layers of grey and gold. During the day, sunlight from the high windows makes these paintings glow with a particular warmth, but at night, under the low amber lighting, they take on a deeper, more contemplative quality, as if the landscapes themselves have settled in for sleep, along with everything else. There's one painting near the centre of the far wall that I always find myself drawn to. A wide view of a valley at dusk. A small stone cottage nestled amongst trees. A single window glowing gold with lamplight. Smoke rising in a thin grey curl from its chimney. I've stood in front of this painting more nights than I could count, and every time I find some new small detail I hadn't noticed before. The particular curve of a fence line, a bird caught mid-flight near the top corner. The way the artist rendered the last light of the sun just barely touching the tops of the distant hills. Tonight, I noticed for the first time that there's a second, smaller window on the far side of the cottage. This one dark, unlit, though I couldn't tell you why it's taken me so long to see it. I stand there for a while, simply looking, letting my eyes move slowly across the whole scene, from the glowing window to the curling smoke to the darkening hills beyond. And I think, as I often do in this room, about how peaceful it must be inside that little cottage. Whoever lives there, settled in for the night, a fire going, nothing at all to worry about, nothing at all to do but rest. I check the gauges along the wall, making my note in the logbook, and move slowly on to the next painting and the next, each one its own small world, each one perfectly still, perfectly at peace, exactly as it has been for 100 years or more. By the time I reach the far end of the landscape gallery, the rain outside has softened further. More of a mist now than a proper rain. And through the tall windows, I can see the courtyard garden glistening faintly under the low security lights. Every blade of grass beaded with moisture, the whole scene washed in soft silver and grey. I make my way unhurried toward the small central courtyard that connects the two wings of the building. This is one of the only places in the gallery that's technically outdoors, though it's sheltered on all sides by high stone walls and a covered walkway, so the rain barely reaches the worn flagstones underfoot. I like to stand here for a few minutes each night, breathing in the cool, damp air, listening to the soft patter of the last of the rain against the leaves of the old wisteria that climbs one wall, its bare winter branches laced overhead like a canopy of dark lace against the paler sky. There's a small stone bench here too, and I sit for a moment, resting my hands on my knees, simply listening. Somewhere beyond the walls, very faintly, I can hear the last of the traffic from the city streets, a distant, soft hum, more felt than heard, like the building itself has a heartbeat, slow and steady, keeping time through the night. After a while, I rise and make my way back inside toward the final stretch of my rounds. The small gallery at the heart of the building, my favorite room of all. It's a modest space, easy to miss if you didn't know to look for it. Tucked just off the main corridor, behind an unassuming door. Inside, there's only a single painting, hung alone on the far wall, lit by its own dedicated lamp that stays on low and warm even after the rest of the gallery has gone dark for the night. I'm not sure why this one painting gets its own room, its own light, when so many others share walls and corridors with dozens of companions. Perhaps simply because someone, long ago, decided it deserved a little more quiet than the rest. It's a small, simple painting, a bowl of fruit on a wooden table, a slice of bread beside it, a half-empty glass of pale wine catching the light in a way that makes it glow faintly, like something lit from within. Nothing dramatic, nothing that would stop a hurried visitor in their tracks. But if you stand in front of it for a while, the way I do most nights, you start to notice the extraordinary patience in every brushstroke, the soft, careful shading on the underside of the bread, the small, imperfect gleam on the curve of the apple, the quiet dignity given to something as simple as a meal left half-finished on a table. I sit down on the small bench across from it, the only piece of furniture in the room besides the painting itself, and I let my shoulders settle, and I breathe. This is always the point in my rounds where I feel the night properly deepen around me, where the last of the day's business finally lets go, and the building and I settle into something closer to rest. The lamp above the painting hums very faintly, a low, warm sound, almost like breathing. Outside, the last of the rain has stopped entirely, and the courtyard beyond the corridor has gone perfectly still and silent. I make my final note in the logbook. All galleries checked, all secure, building quiet. The words are the same almost every night, and there's a deep comfort in knowing that sameness, in knowing that whatever else has changed in the world outside these walls, here in this building, everything is exactly as it should be. I close the logbook and rest it on my knee, and simply sit for a while longer, looking at the small painting in its warm pool of light, the bowl of fruit, the bread, the glass of pale wine, and thinking about how many nights I've sat in exactly this spot, and how many more I will, each one its own quiet, unremarkable, deeply comforting repetition of the last. The building has fully settled now. No more pipes clanking, no more distant creaks, just the low hum of the lamp and my own slow breathing, and somewhere far off, so faint I can barely be sure I'm hearing it at all, the last whisper of wind moving through the bare branches of the wisteria in the courtyard. I think about the bronze woman in the entrance hall, reaching for something just out of sight, patient as ever. I think about the young woman in green, sitting quietly with her secret amusement, exactly as she has for 300 years. I think about the reclining marble figure in the sculpture hall, all perfect at rest, and the little stone cottage in the landscape painting, its window glowing gold, someone inside settled in for the night, with nothing at all left to do. Everything in this building, I realize, is simply resting, has always been resting, will go on resting long after I've finished my rounds and gone home to my own bed, long after the sun comes up and the first visitors arrive tomorrow, long after I return again tomorrow night to check the same rooms, notice the same small, beautiful details, write the same quiet words in my logbook. There is nothing left to check, nothing left to secure, nothing left to do at all except sit here a little longer in this small, warm room, in this pool of low, golden light, surrounded by 300 years of patient, peaceful stillness. My eyes feel heavy now, in the pleasant way they do near the very end of a long, calm night. The kind of tiredness that isn't tired at all, really, just deeply, thoroughly at ease. I let them close for a moment, just to rest, just to listen to the low hum of the lamp and the quiet, settled breathing of the whole building around me. Somewhere in the entrance hall, the bronze woman goes on reaching patiently toward nothing at all. Somewhere in the portrait gallery, the young woman in green goes on keeping her quiet, gentle secret. Somewhere in the landscape gallery, the little stone cottage goes on glowing softly in its painted dusk, smoke curling from its chimney, someone inside settled by the fire, warm and safe and utterly at peace. And here, in this small room, in this low golden light, I let my own breathing slow and deepen and settle the way the whole building has settled around me into something quiet and warm and entirely, completely at rest. The night goes on outside these walls, but none of it needs my attention anymore. Everything here is exactly where it should be. Everything is safe. Everything is still, and so slowly and gently